just in this parade right here. She's an organised with Christians. I'm sorry, I didn't actually get your name.
All the children, sons and daughters. We will honor all our martyrs. All the orphans, mothers and fathers. Calling, calling, calling your blood.
Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check.
Blood in your heart!
Check, check.
Just goes to the last
Look
Over the police.
Free Palestine! End apartheid! Free Palestine! End apartheid! Free Palestine! End apartheid! Free Palestine! End apartheid!
up there. Try and put it apart. So it was supposed to, but it's not. So he said it's going to be. I'm not against it, but I think technically it's going to. Yeah, very, very hard. Yeah, That's it. Usually we hold it up. Oh, this one. Yeah, I don't know where that's from. I don't know where that is. Yeah, exactly. I think Sophie might have tried the other two times. I'm sticking on, you know. Yeah. We were going to walk with it. Other than that, I don't
Is it? Are we on?
Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! And in our thousands, in our millions! justice, freedom and peace for the Palestinian people. And today, we stand together outside Downing Street, knowing that the genocidal army of the occupation are about to withdraw from Gaza with their tails between their legs. Israel wanted to annihilate the Palestinian people in Gaza, to steal their homes, to destroy their spirit, and to colonize their land. On every level, they have failed. The heroic Palestinian people have stood steadfast on their ancestral land and refused to be defeated. This historic victory has been won by Palestinian resistance, by Palestinian steadfastness, and by international solidarity. But even as Israel's soldiers retreat, British weapons and British investments will continue to arm and finance their brutal occupation. The British police, the force that taught the rest of the world how to torture and destroy movements for colonial freedom, have tried to prevent this demonstration, to expose the media's complicity from going ahead. Once again, they have shown us that this imperial state is resolutely on the side of genocide. And so our task remains the same. We will not rest until every war criminal has been brought to justice. We will not rest until every refugee has returned to the homes that were stolen from them. We will not rest until every inch of Palestine has been liberated. We are now entering a new stage in the century-long struggle against Zionist colonialism. Israel is weaker, more isolated and more divided than it has ever been before. Now is the moment to increase the pressure, to keep building our boycott and divestment campaigns. Over the last 15 months, we have all been part of a movement unparalleled in recent history. Millions of people have risen against genocide and against our government's complicity. There will be no going back. We will keep going because we have pledged to stand alongside the Palestinian people until liberation. And now, liberation is closer than ever. So London, take a look around you at the friends and comrades who have joined you in this remarkable movement. You are looking at the generation that will see a free Palestine in our lifetimes. From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! And from the sea to the river! Our first speaker of today's demonstration is here representing the Palestinian Forum in Britain, one of the co-organisers of today's demonstration. Please give a warm welcome to Faris Amer.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Finally, after 15 months of genocide, tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. a ceasefire will finally commence. Now, some will say that Trump is the reason that this ceasefire is happening. And it might be true that Trump put pressure on the genocidal maniac Netanyahu. But there would be no pressure if you stayed silent. There would be no pressure if you stayed silent and didn't share and didn't like the videos and share the posts. There would be no pressure if you stayed at home this last 15 months. So this is not a victory for Donald Trump. This is a victory for the Palestinians, and this is a victory for humanity. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for seeing the humanity in Palestinians. And tomorrow, God willing, if the ceasefire commences, we will be celebrating. So join us at 2 p.m. in Edgware Road with your flags, with your keffiyehs, to join us in celebrating this great victory for Palestine and the movement. And whilst we celebrate, we must remember the martyrs. We must remember Khalid Nabhan, who touched us with who touched our hearts when he called his granddaughter Ruh al-Ruh, or soul of my soul. We must remember Rifat al-Arir, whose words are more powerful than any F-35 fighter jet, than any bunker buster bomb. We must remember Hind Rajab and the thousands of other children whose only crime was to be born Palestinian. And we must remember the heroes of Gaza, the doctors and the nurses who refused to leave any patient behind, the journalists who would not stay silent under risk of being killed by the Zionist enemy. And we must remember the civil defense who dug with their bare hands the rubble in order to find the remains and the living. So we must use their memory to continue the struggle, because it's far from over. Are we going to stop? Are we going to stop? We will not stop until every last criminal with blood on their hands is behind bars. We will not stop until every institution, every media organization like the BBC that defended and promoted genocide is brought to justice. We will not stop until the genocidal ideology of Israel is history. So shout with all your might, shout with absolute certainty in our victory, from the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Thank you.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
UK government, shame on you! UK government!
Shame on you.
UK government!
Shame on you.
Keir Starmer!
Shame on you.
Keir Starmer!
Shame on you.
Our next speaker is the MP for Poplar and Limehouse, Oksana Begum. Please give her a warm welcome.
Over 46,000 people have now been killed. Newborns and infants are freezing to death. And 15 months on, a ceasefire has been declared, yet the bombardment continues. The targeting of civilians and civilian infrastructure continues. These are the actions of the UK's close and staunch ally. And that is why we continue to come together to say, not in our name. We know that the best way to ensure that aid is delivered in Gaza is a ceasefire. And we know the best way to secure a ceasefire is to stop the supply of arms. censorship and the denial and the bias of the political establishment. The majority of people in our country know full well that it's the UK's and US foreign policy interests that are being pursued with an utter disregard for Palestinian life. This chilling complicity will never ever be forgotten. And we will never stop coming together like this until there is justice, until there is full accountability. Until there is an end to the siege of Gaza, until there is an end to the dispossession and oppression of the Palestinian people, and yes, until we have a free and independent Palestine. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Let's keep coming together and raising our voices for the people of Palestine. Thank you in solidarity.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free.
1,
We are the people.
2,
We won't be silent.
3,
Stop the bombing now, 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 now.
1,
We are the people.
2,
We won't be silent.
3.
Stop the bombing now, 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 now.
The people united.
We'll never be defeated.
The people united.
We'll never be defeated.
The people united.
We'll never be defeated.
Our next speaker is the General Secretary of Equity, who has consistently called for a ceasefire and has recently voted to affiliate to the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Please welcome Paul Fleming.
Comrades, thank you so much for being here today on a demonstration and a rally that is perhaps more important than they've ever been before. Over the last 3 days, we've been asked many times, why are we still rallying and marching today? Over the last 3 months, Equity has been asked the question, why are we affiliated to the Palestine Solidarity Campaign? And the answer to those 2 questions are the same. Because we are not here to be opposed merely to genocide, to be opposed to apartheid, to be opposed to oppression. We are here because we stand for something. We stand for peace, for joy, and the right of the Palestinian people to be artists and to be free. That battle and liberation of the Palestinian people does not end with a ceasefire. As welcome as a pause may be, it will only end when they have a free and independent Palestine, where every single Palestinian man, woman and child can live without fear and in a full expression of who they are. Equity as a union is sometimes asked, surely what your people do isn't really work. Surely what your people do is a fantasy. But the opposite is incredibly true. Out of 50,000 artists that we represent, actors, stage management, directors, designers, choreographers, clowns, circus entertainers, they know that their job is to reflect back to the world the material reality of how it is. To give them an interpretation of the truth that we can all understand. When a genocide is a genocide, we call it such. When apartheid is apartheid, we call it such. The job of our members is to do that, and their job is to do that in relation to Palestine as much as anywhere else in the world. There is a simple material reality. A simple material reality about what the Palestinian people have the right to expect. Peace, freedom, joy, and the right to be artists. The motto of Equity is to demand for all working people that they can be artists. That all artists have a dignified working life, and that all people have equity. Solidarity, comrades.
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Free, free!
Palestine!
Right, sorry about the mic. Our next speaker is a journalist
writer who recently released an exposé revealing how coverage at the BBC is systematically biased towards Israel and accurate reporting on Palestine is actively being censored. Please give a warm welcome to Owen Jones.
Friends, without the Western media, without its lies, its deflections, its airbrushing of the depraved truth, Israel's genocide in Gaza would not have been possible. So no crime in history, no crime, has been so confessed to by its perpetrators, so unapologetically, so shamelessly, so proudly. From the very start, Israel's leaders, they declared that Gaza's civilians were human animals, that an entire nation out there was responsible. As the President of Israel declared, the essentials of life would be cut off, that Gaza would be reduced to a city of tents. They made clear over and over again they were going to wipe Gaza from the face of the earth and wage war against its people. There was no better predictor of what Israel would do to the Palestinian people than what they told the world they would do over and over and over again. And yet, with courageous exceptions, the Western media conspired to suppress Israel's genocidal intent while smearing the few with a platform who spoke out as dangerous, hateful extremists, turning the world upside down. That's what they did, and they are complicit in every death and every maiming. They did not even try to pretend that they believed Palestinian life had even the smallest fraction of the worth of an Israeli life or a Western life. They deferred to Israeli lies. They airbrushed atrocities. They stripped away all context and started the clock on the 7th of October. They erased Palestinian voices systematically. They muddied the waters. They made false equivalences. We could go on. Again, we must say it loudly. Without the Western media, this genocide would never have been possible. And look at what they normalized. The destruction of hospitals, the slaughter of medics, the annihilation of civilian infrastructure, the mass butchery of children, the deliberate starvation of entire people, the torture and rape of Palestinian hostages. But meanwhile, the journalists of Gaza, the lions of the world's press pack, the bravest journalists the world have ever seen, who've ever walked the face of this earth, they risked their lives every single day, knowing that every last day, every minute, every second could be their last, not just for them, but for their children and their families, often exterminated alongside them. And yet, in the biggest massacre of journalists in the history of our species, the vast majority of Western journalists couldn't even utter a sentence of solidarity with their colleagues as they were butchered. How dare they? Shame on them. Shame on them forever. And just finally, we must hold all of the guilty men and women to account. In our political elites and our media elites, there are no excuses, there is nowhere to hide. You cannot claim you did not know what was really happening in the first live stream genocide in history. We cannot let them get away with it. This crime is too extreme, too depraved, too shameless. If we do, it won't just be the ruin of the Palestinian people, but the ruin for human civilization as well. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Stop arming Israel! Stop arming Israel! Stop arming Israel! Stop arming Israel! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Our next speaker is here representing Stop the War, which is one of the co-organisers of today's rally. Please welcome Lindsay German.
Thanks very much. Tomorrow we have the ceasefire in Gaza that we've all been demonstrating. demonstrating for 15 months. And everybody must celebrate at least this brief pause in the brutality meted out to the Palestinian people. But we all know that the level of destruction is horrific. Every hospital, every school in Gaza are destroyed. 1,000 health workers dead. Hundreds of journalists dead. That is the fault of the Israelis. But not just the Israelis alone. Our government here in Downing Street, Joe Biden in the United States, and all the people who have said that Israel has the right to defend itself, just as Keir Starmer and David Lammy has repeatedly said, they have blood on their hands. They have the blood of tens of thousands of Palestinians on their hands, because everybody knows this ceasefire could have happened months and months ago. And it didn't, because they backed Israel against the Palestinians. They allowed these war crimes. They allowed the genocide. And not just the governments. We wanted to march on the BBC today. And as Owen has just said, the BBC is complicit in telling lies about Gaza. It's complicit in backing the Israelis over Gaza. It is the state broadcasting company. What would we think anywhere else in the world if we were told the state broadcasting company wouldn't allow a demonstration outside its headquarters and police were surrounding the headquarters to make sure that people like you and me aren't able to get there? We would say this is a dictatorship and it's not acceptable. And when it comes to the policing here today, it is absolutely shocking to see the level of repression that we have faced over our democratic right to march, our democratic right to protest. We have been told that we're hate marches. We have been told we don't have the right to march. We have been told we cannot go to the BBC. This is a denial of our democratic rights. And I want to make it clear here and now, we are not going to stop demonstrating. The ceasefire is only the beginning of justice for the Palestinians. It's only the beginning of what is required. We will keep demonstrating. We will keep protesting. We will hold Starmer and Lammy to account. And Donald Trump is in the White House on Monday, and he needn't think that he's going to get a free pass either. Solidarity with everybody. Down with the imperialists, down with what Israel is doing, and let's fight for justice for the Palestinians.
This week. Please give a warm welcome to John McDonnell MP.
I just want to, I've been on virtually, I think every demonstration, and every time I've spoken about the children of Gaza. This week we've seen the reports of those children, some of which are frozen to death, and others are dying of malnutrition. So yes, we welcome this ceasefire, of course we do, and we'll be working for a lasting peace. But I just want to say this peace wouldn't have been brought about if it hadn't been for the mobilization of people like you across the globe. So I just want to say this. Often we don't thank people enough, but I want to say this. thank you for the privilege of marching alongside you over this last 15 months. Thank you. I want to say a special thanks to our comrades and friends in the Jewish bloc who've marched alongside us no matter what. I want to thank those trade unions that have stood with us. On Monday, I will be visiting some young women from Palestine Action who are in prison as a result of the protests that they undertook. The anti-terrorism laws were used against these young women simply because they campaigned for peace. I want us all to send them a message of solidarity today that they hear in their prison cells where they're detained. I want us to thank those journalists who courageously have worked so hard to report on the war crimes that have taken place, and yes, condemn those in the BBC who've distorted the news to us. Can I say finally as well just this? I want to thank one person, a hidden hero in this campaign, and he won't like me mentioning it. I want to thank the General Secretary of Palestine Solidarity Campaign, Ben Jamal, for all the work he's done. We are not going away. We are not standing down this campaign. We will continue until we secure peace, but above all else, justice for the Palestinian people. Solidarity.
In our thousands, in our millions. In our thousands, in our millions. Free, free. Free, free. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Our next speaker is here representing Friends of Al-Aqsa, one of the co-organisers of today's rally. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Ismail Patel.
Assalamu alaikum. Friends, we stand here today with a glimmer of hope in our hearts. A ceasefire deal has been agreed. However, we have to be cautious and embrace this moment with trepidation. As we continue with our fight, we must understand that what we have in front of us is a great struggle that has to continue. Your coming out here has been pivotal to ensure that ceasefire deal. Let's not be mistaken. If it wasn't for you coming out week in and week out, it would have been possible for Starmer to get his way and make sure that food has been stopped to the people of Gaza. They would have no electricity and no water. If it wasn't for you, it would have not been possible for the ICJ to prosecute Netanyahu. If it was not for people like you, it would have not been possible to bury the lies from the BBC. You have exposed all that, and for that, let me thank you for coming out, and it is your work that should continue. My friends, as we note, we find ourselves in a very difficult position. Not only the government, the pro-Israeli lobby, the BBC, but unfortunately now the police is even denying us our freedom to march, our freedom of expression, our freedom to demand justice. We must not stop. What we have achieved so far is a milestone which means that if it was not for us, Gaza would have been wiped out. There would be no people in Gaza left. And therefore we need to continue. And we need to continue to demonstrate. We need to continue to boycott. We need to continue with our campaigning. So let nobody intimidate us. And we will return back and demonstrate and exercise our right for justice, for freedom, and for peace. Friends, we have shown that our collective strength is greater than that of government and Stama. And let's show that our collective strength can bring about peace to the Palestinians and justice to the world and to champion humanity. Thank you very much, my friends. Continue with our work and continue for freedom. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Thank you very much.
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
In our thousands, in our millions!
We are all Palestinians!
And across the world, in our millions, in our billions!
We are all Palestinians!
Our next speaker is here today representing the Muslim Association of Britain, one of the co-organisers of today's rally. Please give a warm welcome to Ragad Al-Takriti.
Brothers, sisters, friends, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. We stand here less than 24 hours from the ceasefire in Gaza. For the people of Gaza, this means they can finally bury their loved ones and search for those still trapped beneath the rubble. But until that moment arrives, Israel's onslaught continues with brutal intensity. Bombs rain down on homes, schools and hospitals. Refugee tents remain targets. Entire families are wiped out as the world watches in silence. This is not the behavior of a state seeking peace. It is the calculated destruction of a people. It is enabled by governments that arm and shield Israel while refusing to demand accountability. The world must not look away. Every bomb dropped, every life lost in these final hours is a stain on the conscience of humanity and a damning indictment of those complicit through silence and inaction. For us, this ceasefire must be a moment of recommitment, a renewal of our struggle for liberation. We demand an end to the genocide and the systems that allowed it to happen. That means we must fight to dismantle apartheid and administrative detention and bring down the entire settler colonial regime. Accountability is not optional. We will not forget our government's complicity, its arms sales, diplomatic cover, and deliberate inaction. Those who facilitated this violence are accomplices to oppression. We will not rest until they are held accountable. We know, they know, and the entire world knows that Gaza will rebuild, Gaza will rise, Gaza will flourish. In the face of the world's most advanced military machine, Gaza stood unyielding. It endured relentless bombing, siege and brutal silence from the world. Entire neighborhoods were obliterated, families erased, children robbed of their futures. Yet Gaza did not fall, it did not break, its people refused to surrender. They stood tall, a defiant force that shook the world, a testament to the unyielding spirit of a people who faced annihilation and declared with their survival, "We are here to stay." This moment today is for Gaza. Their victory, their resilience is our pride. Gaza is not just a place, it is the living, breathing embodiment of hope. The moment is also for us, for our movement. It was not governments but the power of the people that forced the world to listen. This they fail to understand is that we will not stop until we see a free, liberated Palestine. A Palestine where its people live in dignity without fear. A Palestine where its children grow up without bombs and checkpoints. A Palestine where the skies above Gaza are filled with hope and joy, not destruction. We dream of a Palestine where people move freely from the hills of Jenin to the streets of Haifa, from the shores of Gaza to the sacred city of Jerusalem. We will not rest. We will never stop until Palestine is free from the river to the sea. Thank you so much.
Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Our next speaker is Ahmed al-Na'ouk. He is a Palestinian journalist and he is the founder of We Are Not Numbers, which helps emerging writers from Palestine tell their stories and advocate for human rights. So please give him a warm welcome.
My friends, as a Gazan, as a Palestinian, as a human being, as someone who lost his entire family in Gaza, I come here to tell you thank you. Thank you. And we are proud of you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. From Gaza, we tell you thank you for speaking up for the past 15 months. Thank you for protesting for the past 15 months. Thank you for never losing hope. Thank you for standing with the Palestinians. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. As we anticipate a ceasefire tomorrow, as we anticipate the end of the mass killing of the Palestinian people in Gaza, the shooting of children, the beheading of babies, the obliteration of entire neighborhoods, I want to tell you that this is a victory of us. This is a victory of the Palestinians and the pro-Palestinians who never gave up on the Palestinian people, who have continued to protest. But at the same time, please let us not forget that the mass murder of the Palestinians might end tomorrow, but it will not stop tomorrow. It will not stop because Gaza will still be under siege, that the West Bank will still be under the apartheid, that the occupation is still not over. So please do not give up. Please do not stop protesting. Please do not stop protesting for Palestine, for Gaza. Please remember that the people in Gaza will still continue to endure suffering and pain. That thousands and tens of thousands of children will live their entire life as orphans. So please do not stop protesting. Do not stop speaking up for Palestine, because our journey is still in the beginning. This is not the end of our journey. This is just the beginning. And we will still continue to protest and speak up until Palestine is free. All of Palestine is free, from the river to the sea. Thank you.
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
We are hugely honoured to have our next speaker here with us today, as he has been on all of the 23, I think it is, national demonstrations for Palestine over the past 15 months. As a child, Stephen survived the Holocaust in Budapest, Hungary. His experience of war and expulsion from his home as a child has led him to become a steadfast friend and supporter of the Palestinian people. Please give a very warm welcome to Stephen Kaposh.
Holocaust Memorial Day is just a week away on the 27th, and it brings back memories for me. I was 7 years old when Germany invaded and occupied their unreliable ally Hungary in March 1944. This makes me 87 years old now, but my memories of the hiding as a hunted Jew on false papers and utter devastation of the climatic fighting around us between trapped German army and the Red Army is still crystal clear memory for me today. I see the burnt out cars, tanks, dead horses and human bodies, abandoned ammunition, helmets strewn about, burnt out buildings, mountains of rubble and broken glass everywhere. Just like tragically destroyed Gaza is looking today. Only our area where we were hiding with false names and papers was much smaller. It was the Royal Castle district on the Buddha Hills where the climax of the siege of Budapest was played out. I now think of it as Gaza in miniature. There was even the same sadistic inhumanity at work in targeting hospitals. There was a massacre of the nearby Mary Street Jewish Hospital and of another one not too far, carried out by the Hungarian fascist Arrow Cross, when they executed doctors, nurses, patients in the courtyards, systematically impaired several hundreds of them. This was in January, February 1945, with the war and the battle for Budapest was clearly lost, and this was the last desperate, senseless eruption of sheer racist hatred. Meanwhile, during this total siege for a few months, there was no water, only snow to melt, no electricity, fuel, or no bread, and candles became a kind of currency. Then came the happy anarchic liberation, never again to the cruel past. We Jews in hiding, who had to relocate repeatedly at night under fire into the next supposedly safe destination, whereas a hunted people, lucky survivors, repeating, never again in our names, never again the humiliations, the wearing of yellow stars, the hiding, the pain of divided families, the fear of arbitrary arrest, the loss of right to even board a train. But soon there were no trains to board. Like in Gaza, no trains, no roads. Lucky if you can find and pull a handcart with a few of your saved belongings on it. And divided families. I still recall my mother's sad expression telling me about my father's deportations to Belsen before Christmas 1944. But on the next day we were lucky dinner guests of the trapped German army with their swastika flag still the main decor, as they were deceived into believing we were all Aryan war orphan kids. Then the agony of not having any news of father until well into 45 when he showed up unexpectedly. How many divided, cruelly decimated or totally wiped out families do we see on our screen or hear about in Gaza to this day? I was lucky to be so young then. I didn't know yet what real fear was. But I remember the agony of all my adult relations all around me. And when I watch the images of Gaza's infinitely more complete and extensively drawn out destruction and agony, it all comes back to me. And like all of us, finding it unbearable, inexcusable, and incomprehensible. Not only is this fascistic, even at times sadistic, dehumanization is being played out in front of our eyes, but it is being justified by the Zionists and the apartheid state of Israel by reference to the World War II Holocaust suffering as a cover.
Shame.
This is a desecration of the memory of the victims of the Holocaust, and I feel it on my skin. 15 members of my family died in. The bombing and starving, genocidal massacre perpetrated by racist apartheid Israel is simply fascistic, and the comparisons with actions of German fascism of World War II should not be taboo anymore. The news of the ceasefire in the offing must be great relief for the long-suffering Palestinian people. But we, and mostly they, desperately need a permanent ceasefire. We can't have any future repeat of the mowing of the lawn, any return to bombing or destruction of any heroic reconstruction. The Palestinian people deserve to live in a truly democratic state where all religions are known, all ethnicities have equal rights. As a first step, the UK should immediately recognize the Palestinian state. We still have to struggle against false propaganda and false accusations from the racist right and Zionist forces, as they still label our expressions of solidarity and love hate marches and unsafe areas for Jews. We Holocaust survivors and descendants, together with a good thousand of socialist Jews, prove the opposite with our constant presence. We display our placards, show who we are, our solidarity, and say again that not in our name, and receive warm welcome and love in return every time. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! In our thousands, in our millions! Our next speaker is an actor who you may recognise from recent series of The Crown. He is also a steadfast supporter of Palestinian rights and freedom. Please give a warm welcome to Khalid Abdullah.
Thank you. I first want to say thank you to Stephen. It's a huge honour to speak after you. Thank you, Stephen. Tomorrow has come, or so they say. Tomorrow, phase 1 of this ceasefire begins. It remains to be seen if the ceasefire will hold, or if the blood shed since it was announced augurs what it will become. But still, we will have cause to celebrate whatever its shape, for the respite in this genocide, for the return of hostages, for the release of prisoners. But while we do so, we must be clear. Tomorrow is already yesterday's nightmare. A ceasefire is normally a situation in which warring parties return to peace when the bombs stop falling. But for Palestinians, at best, this ceasefire is a continuation of occupation and apartheid. It is a continuation of the world in which if you were in the West Bank now, leaving this demonstration, every one of you would return home, passing through a checkpoint, by an illegal settlement or a wall that encircled you. It is a world in which, if you were in Hebron, your journey from here to Trafalgar Square would have you pass through metal gates with AI guns, through streets blocked by walls and then segregated by whether or not you are Palestinian. It is a world in which, if you came by car, your occupier would travel on fast roads and you would not. All while the forms of surveillance and control of your resources by the people who have occupied you for 57 years continues after the nightmare of the past 15 months. And if you're in Gaza, just imagine yourself watching Trump's inauguration on this day they've been calling the day after since this genocide began. You're still under siege, you're still under occupation, your home has been obliterated, family of all ages have been killed in the most gruesome of ways, you've been displaced multiply and intergenerationally, you live in a strip of land with healthcare in ruins, 90% of schools damaged or destroyed, every university flattened, and where they're saying it will take 15 years to clear the rubble, let alone rebuild. Perhaps for you a ceasefire is simply a moment to grieve the unfathomable loss of more than 46,000 human beings without drones circling above you. This is the best of all possible worlds. And if you're a child in Gaza, a child who has survived, and the world of this genocide is your tomorrow, now just for a moment, imagine that child looking at you. Because we are not in the West Bank or Gaza, we are not in Palestine, we are here. We are the people who have been marching and finding ways to show our solidarity for 15 months now. And perhaps now is a moment in which we can thank all the organisers in this coalition who have worked tirelessly despite all the intimidation, lighting a torch across the world. Because time and again, we have shown that our marches are love marches, not hate marches. They are spaces for the joy that comes with fighting for freedom alongside grief and rage and holding what that takes in your soul. So let us dream that tomorrow and the day after the ceasefire holds, we know that this is the moment the work begins. Together, we have achieved a shift in global consciousness. Now is the time to consolidate it and to do the work for it to expand with stamina, because we cannot be here again. Which is to say, my final words are for those who have not been on these marches and who have remained locked behind forms of silence, but who see this genocide for what it is. I urge you to recognize your power. It is not just that silence is complicity. I don't want to blame you for what everyone here knows is hard. But in your silence is an abdication of your power to those who abuse it and turn it into a killing machine. We are here holding the space for a better future for everyone. We need your voice too. Join us to seize the future from the arms of murderers and war criminals so it may bend towards justice. A free Palestine is a freer you. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Thank you.
Free, free! Hammerman, one of the co-organisers of today's rally. Please give a warm welcome to Sophie Bolt.
Thank you. The ceasefire is an absolutely huge breakthrough. Finally, an end to the horrific slaughter of the Palestinian people in Gaza. But hundreds of thousands are on the brink of starvation and need urgent medical attention. So food and medical aid must be let in now before thousands more die. Whilst Israel has now signed the deal, we must do everything possible to keep up the pressure to make sure it actually happens, and in all its phases. From the release of hostages, all hostages, including the thousands of Palestinians, including children held by Israel, right through to the reconstruction of Gazan homes, hospitals, universities and schools. The entire Gazan society must be rebuilt. There must be, ultimately, there has got to be justice for the Palestinian people. And this means recognition of the state of Palestine. It means holding Israel to account for genocide. It means holding the US to account as its key financial and military backer. And of course, for its total and utter failure to stop the slaughter. Because we know an identical ceasefire deal was proposed in the summer, but the US totally failed to pressure Netanyahu, condemning tens of thousands more Palestinians to be killed. And it means holding the British government to account for its complicity in this genocide. We will not let Keir Starmer and David Lammy hide behind their obscene words of condolences now. While all along they have approved the surveillance flights, the arms sales and defended Israel's war crimes. We must campaign to ensure this ceasefire isn't just a pause before Trump gives military backing for even greater land grabs by Israel and even greater slaughter. And we know Trump has Iran in his sights. Finally, I wanted to thank everyone here today. It is an absolute privilege to be part of this incredible solidarity movement. Let us continue to take inspiration and strength from each other, unified in our horror, our outrage, and our determination to secure justice, peace, and sovereignty for the Palestinian people, because they need our support and solidarity now more than ever. Free! Free! Palestine! Free! Free! Palestine! Thank you.
Free! Free!
Palestine!
Free! Free!
Palestine!
Free! Free!
Palestine!
Our next speaker is the Assistant General Secretary of the RMT, whose members and leadership have always stood on the side of justice for the Palestinian people. Please give a warm welcome to Eddie Dempsey.
Solidarity to you all, brothers and sisters. Solidarity from the RMT Union. My voice is a little bit hoarse, you'll have to forgive me. I've got a couple of very short messages for you. The first one is, now that we've finally got sight of a ceasefire, doesn't mean that we will disband and drift away, because we've seen ceasefires broken before and there's still a long way to go until we finally get justice for the Palestinian people. So we'll celebrate the ceasefire, but we're going to stay united because there's still a job of work to be done. The second thing that I want to say to you all is over tens of national marches, hundreds of local protests, we have been a peaceful movement. We have been a peaceful movement for justice. And what we've seen today, the restrictive policing of this demonstration, is a symptom of what we've seen more broadly in this country, a clampdown on all of our civil rights to dissent, all of our civil rights to protest, and all of our civil rights to have a political voice. It happened to us in the trade union movement, when we beat the government on the picket lines, when we beat the government in a court of public opinion. They went to the law to try to criminalise dissent against poverty. And the policing that we're seeing at the moment is trying to criminalise dissent against injustice. The fight for a free and peaceful world and the fight for workers' rights is the same fight. That is why the RMT is with you, and that is why we must stick together. And finally, I will say this, that in the coming months and even years, there is going to be an even greater push to divide us in this country, as we have seen, to divide us on racial grounds, religious grounds, and other grounds. We have got to be a movement of unity. Solidarity is a weapon. It is the strongest weapon and the one that they fear the most. And that is why we have got to be united in demanding good wages, good housing, good education, and a world that lives in peace and justice for the Palestinians. So solidarity to you all. Let's keep together and keep fighting. Love ya.
Our next speaker is a young Palestinian activist who gave West Streeting a run for his money at the last general election. Please put your hands together for Liam Mohammed. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Sisters and brothers, the past 15 months will haunt us forever. Yet despite their relentless attempts to erase us and to extinguish our existence, they have failed, and we are still here. Gaza is the soul of our soul, and we will rebuild it, stronger and more beautiful than ever before. But let me remind you, the Palestinian tragedy does not end when the bombs stop falling. It ends when we are free. It has been 470 days of televised murder, yet the screams, the tears, the images of maimed children, weeping mothers, helpless fathers and traumatized youth have not moved Western politicians as they congratulate themselves on a job well done. This past week, both Keir Starmer and David Lammy have shown us they care more for Israeli propaganda than the humanity of Palestinians. For Starmer, only Israeli mothers feel pain. He talked of Israelis being massacred and brutally murdered, yet Palestinians had merely lost their lives. Such is the disdain they feel for the lives of an inconvenient people. Lammy, the repulsive foreign secretary who came to office talking of progressive realism, pursuing progressive goals through realist means, has done his best to avert the world's attention from this genocide. This Labour government has given Israel diplomatic cover and supplied them with a menu of arms. Yet Lammy has the temerity to mention the name of the beautiful Hind Rajab through his disgusting mouth. Shame! Damn you, Lammy, and damn Labour! Never vote for those complicit in this bloodthirsty rampage. Never. President action. All of this carnage to maintain its settler colonial project. Sisters and brothers, this is just the start. History did not begin 15 months ago, and it will not end with a ceasefire. A ceasefire was never enough. You cannot walk away from this struggle. What we have built here has to burn in our hearts and move us to action until we breathe our last breath. I am not now nor never going to allow the genociders in the Labour government, the US administration, nor the European Union to get away with this, and nor must you. Israel will continue as long as enablers in Downing Street, Washington and Brussels allow it to. This is not the moment to rest. Let's bring down this system of injustice. Ceasefire today, liberation tomorrow. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. Thank you. Free, free, Palestine. Free, free, Palestine. In our thousands, in our millions. We are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions. We are all Palestinians. And in our millions, in our billions. We are all Palestinians. Our next speaker is the independent MP for Islington North. Please give a very warm welcome to Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, and what a pleasure it is to follow Leanne and the marvellous speech and message that she gives and the inspiration she is on behalf of so many Palestinian people all over the world. Thank you to everyone being here today, being here on all the demonstrations, and thank you to all the organisers that have put them all together, because these things don't happen by accident. And I know the cost and hardship for so many people here, travelling from so many parts of the country to be here today and on so many other occasions. This is the 24th national demonstration we've held, and there's going to be a lot more demonstrations, because this ceasefire is obviously a step forward in the sense that the killing will stop. But even since it was announced, 100 more people have been killed in Gaza, more people have been arrested on the West Bank, and the occupation of the West Bank continues. And our demands that we've been making constantly in all these demonstrations are of course in solidarity with the Palestinian people, but there are also demands on the government of this country. One, stop supplying arms to Israel. And stop hiding behind the idea you cannot separate out those parts of F-35 jets that go to one place with those that go to Israel. Yes, you can if you want to do it. And the ICC, International Criminal Court, and the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, have met and decided in terms that Netanyahu is a war criminal and should be arrested, and that the acts of genocidal nature have been committed by the IDF in Gaza. I've said this before and I'll say it again. That means that those countries that supply the weapons that commit those war crimes are themselves knowingly complicit in war crimes against the Palestinian people. And so our demands continue. Our demands continue for the immediate withdrawal of all IDF forces from Gaza. Our demands continue for an end to the occupation of the West Bank and of the settlement policy. Because as long as that continues, the Palestinian people are not free. And so, in the reckoning that's now following, the 45,000 and thousands more who've lost their lives forget the idea that they're going to be not remembered. We will never forget those that lost their lives as a result of this bombardment. The horror of children dying in hospitals, the horror of the way that wholly innocent people were bombarded by the IDF and continue to be so. The reckoning is going to be in the judgment of those people that committed those war crimes. And they have failed, however, in their objective of permanently occupying Gaza. They failed in their objective of setting up more settlements in Gaza. And so it is the global movement of solidarity with the Palestinian people that have got us thus far. But please don't think this is the end of the story. This is but a staging post in that long story of the need for Palestinian people to be able to live in peace and in freedom. I want to conclude with a very short message, a poem by Ghassan Kanafani. These writers that can somehow or other, in the midst of all the horrors, send a beautiful message of dream and hope. And I read it briefly to you. I wish children didn't die. I wish they would be temporarily elevated to the skies until the war ends. Then they would return home safe. And when their parents asked them, "Where were you?" they'd say, "We were playing with the clouds." For the children of Gaza, for the people of Palestine, solidarity forever.
One, two, three, four. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a terrorist state. Israel is a terrorist state. Israel is a free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Our next speaker is here representing thousands of Jewish people and who have joined the Jewish bloc on all of the demonstrations. Please give a round of applause for Miriam.
It is now day 470 of the Palestinian genocide, with a ceasefire called for tomorrow. But we who have been marching with the Palestinians and the Palestinians themselves know that that is not enough. We anti-Zionist and diasporic Jews know that a ceasefire is not enough, and our work is to ensure that Palestinians can truly reach liberation and can live a viable, self-determined future. So we call for an end to the funding and arming of Israel. We call for immediate withdrawal from Gaza and stopping the settlers in the West Bank. And we call for the support of the BDS movement. As long as there have been Zionists, there have been anti-Zionists. And we have been calling since the creation that Israel does not speak for all Jews. We know that Israel is built on the oppression of Palestinians and the lies of false security that prey on Jewish intergenerational trauma. We Jews who reject the state of Israel are committed to staying in the diaspora to fight for collective liberation. And we are not some marginalized community. I stand here on the shoulders of great anti-Zionist Jews who have come long before me. And I come from a proud, working-class, anti-Zionist Jewish family where I was always taught that never again truly means never again for everyone. And thousands of Jewish people across the world have demonstrated that Israel does not speak for us. We have numbers in our thousands on these marches in the Jewish bloc. Our petition to the Met Police was signed by over 1,000 of us calling out their usage of anti-Semitism and an imaginary threat to Jewish freedom of worship to ban us from assembling at the BBC. When we know these marches are rooted in solidarity and liberation. We are also calling out the BBC for systematically minimizing Palestinian deaths justifying Israeli action and using the Jewish community as a political shield. We Jews say, not in our name. So what does ceasefire actually mean when the Israeli occupation forces are still bombing Palestinians and encroaching on Lebanon? Peace for the oppressor means maintaining the status quo. Peace for the oppressed means liberation. So who do we stand with, the oppressor or the oppressed? Judaism is the religion of the oppressed. It is in our very nature to overturn the systems that exploit, oppress, and enable genocide. So it is an honor to march alongside all of you today. And with all of our hearts and souls, we say, free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free!
Our next speaker is the Deputy Leader of the Green Party, which is the first political party in England and Wales to recognise Israel's conduct as apartheid and genocide. Please give a warm welcome to Zach Polanski.
Friends, let us hear what a movement sounds like that is here for environmental, social, racial, economic and international justice. We are here to stand together, noting our differences, but we are here as a coalition to say when we stand together, we are more powerful and we will not stop until we see justice. We are not just here to mourn for the devastating lives and destruction that has been lost through this genocide, but we are here to stand for justice, to stand for freedom, and to say no to occupation. How has the world turned its back on Palestine? How has the UK government still been selling arms to a country engaging in a genocide? And how are we still stood here so long later saying this must end? But we will stand here. We will continue to stand here until we see there are no more bombs in the sky, there are no more soldiers in the streets, and we will see a free Palestine. I and the Green Party stand with you. London stands with you. The world stands with you. Because at this moment of hope, and let us be clear, a ceasefire is a hopeful moment. We must have the cynicism. We must have skepticism to see it through. But let us be clear, this is a moment of progress. But we will be watching very carefully. The world is watching. And we will not stop. We will not stop until we see a free Palestine, where we see a world that has come together, free of war, where we challenge injustice, and we know we will stand together. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Thank you!
Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Our next speaker is the director of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign, one of the co-organisers of today's rally. Please give a warm welcome to Ben Jamal.
Friends, I want to thank you all for coming today. Now, for 15 months, the Palestinian people have faced and resisted Israel's genocidal assault. We know that at least 65,000 Palestinians have been slaughtered in this genocide. And for 15 months, we have marched and we have rallied here in London and in towns and cities across the UK, and we have made as a central demand that there be a ceasefire for the slaughter to stop. So today, we come here with one strong feeling and emotion. Immense relief that we may finally have a ceasefire agreement that, if implemented, promises to stop this immediate, catastrophic wave of killing of Palestinians. Let me share with you a message from a comrade in Gaza that many of you would have seen posted on social media. He wrote, "As soon as this ceasefire is implemented, I will go and search for my son's corpses under the rubble. With my bare hands I will find them, and I will make a proper grave for my beloved children." So today, as we fight our own battles here in the UK and against police repression, we remember why we are here. We remember and we centre our minds on what the Palestinian people need of us, that the movement that we have collectively built of unprecedented strength and size remains united, remains focused on our ongoing and primary task, that we end the complicity of our government, our public bodies, our corporations with this genocide and with Israel's decades-long oppression of the Palestinian people. This did not begin on October the 7th. So we demand that our governments act to ensure that the ceasefire is implemented. We demand that Israel is held accountable for its crimes in the ICJ and in the ICC, so that Netanyahu becomes not a fugitive from justice, but a criminal in the dock in The Hague. We demand the complete lifting of Israel's siege on Gaza to allow the unhindered access of aid, and we demand that all of those illegally detained, including over 10,000 Palestinians held in prison or in the torture camps in Gaza, are set free and finally returned to their families. So friends, our task is not to demobilise, not to stand down, but to continue and to escalate, to continue all of our protests and our boycott and divestment campaigns. This week, Bristol Council became the latest to vote to divest from companies arming Israel. We salute all of those who campaigned for that victory. So we do not stop. And friends, you know the efforts being made by pro-Israel groups across the political establishment to suppress this movement and our right to protest. You know the lies that we are a threat to the Jewish people and to people worshipping in synagogues. You know the truth that today, as on every demonstration, we are joined again by thousands of Jewish comrades. And you know the truth. This is not a protest fueled by hate, and our marches have not been hate marches. These are protests fueled by the love that is at the heart of solidarity, a love of justice, and a recognition that an injustice against anyone, anywhere, is an injustice against everyone. So when we have heard from our final speaker, I will come back and say a little more about our responses to this police repression. But for now, we salute the courage and the endurance of the Palestinian people in the face of 15 months of genocide and 76 years of oppression, and we remember. We remember 7-year-old Sidra Hassouna, blown from her home with such force that her body was left hanging like a piece of meat from a wall in Rafah. We remember the voice of 6-year-old Hind Rajab calling for help from the car in which she was left as the only surviving member of her family before she too was killed. And we remember Shaban Al-Dalou, burnt alive while still tied to his IV drip. We pray that this ceasefire is fully implemented, but even if it holds, we do not stop. We never stop until every brick in the wall of apartheid that imprisons Palestinians from the river to the sea, in Gaza, in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Ramallah, in Jerusalem, till every brick in that wall of oppression comes tumbling down and the Palestinian people are finally free from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Thank you.
The actors Khalid Abdallah and Juliet Stevenson will now join us on stage to read 2 poems. When they have finished, we will hold a 2-minute silence to remember all of those who have been slaughtered over 15 months of genocide and over 76 years of ongoing Nakba.
The poem is called O Rascal Children of Gaza by Khaled Juma, Palestinian poet. O rascal children of Gaza, you who constantly disturbed me with your screams under my window, you who filled every morning with rush and chaos, you who broke my vase and stole the lonely flower from my balcony. Come back and scream all you want and break all the vases, steal all the flowers. Come back. Just come back.
If I Must Die by Rifat al-Arir. If I must die, you must live. To tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings. Make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. Thank you.
Thank you. Friends, you all know the extremes that the police and the political establishment have gone to suppress our right to protest and our right to march. This week, the police tried to impose upon us a route for a march which had been approved by the Board of Deputies of British Jews. We, the Palestine Solidarity Movement, decide where we protest, not the Board of Deputies, not the Chief Rabbi, not the Community Security Trust, not any Zionist group that has supported Israel's genocide and its 76 years of apartheid. Our intention today was to march to the BBC. We wanted to do so because of its complicity through the bias of its reporting, a bias confirmed in a recent investigation by Owen Jones. So today, as we end this rally, a delegation comprising all of the leaders of the 6 organisations that united have organised the marches and protests for the last 15 months. The PSC, which I represent, the Palestinian Forum in Britain, the Campaign Against Nuclear Disarmament, the Muslim Association of Britain, Friends of Al-Aqsa and the Stop the War Coalition, the leaders of each of these groups and our speakers today, who you see lined up behind me, and members of the Jewish bloc, will now walk as a delegation towards the BBC. We will carry with us flowers that we intend to lay at the gates of the BBC to protest at their failure to report the truth of genocide and to mark the cost in Palestinian lives of that failure. Now friends, for 15 months we have marched calling for a ceasefire, and for 15 months our political opponents have opposed a ceasefire, tried and failed to demonise our marches and supported Israel's genocide. Now, when a ceasefire is about to be called, they want to distract attention from their shame by creating scenes of disorder on the streets. We will not give them that victory. So we will walk peacefully. We will walk in silence. If the police stop us, which they probably will, we will lay those flowers at the feet of the police force to mark their complicity in supporting genocide by suppressing protests against that genocide. So we are going to walk now. I ask that as we walk towards you, you make a path for us so that we can pass amongst you. Thank you for being with us today. We do not stop.
room please park to make way for us? Thank you, and free Palestine!
So liberating.
Should we move it in?